So Tola has been managing Praise World Radio. He's the founder of Praise World Radio, and he's been running this online urban ministry for 8 years now. And so we're going to be learning the people mechanisms, because most times when people want to begin online ministry or are into online ministry, they're wondering, so where do the people come from? How do I attract my tribe? How do I get people who can work with me, who would also understand the vision? How do I sustain people? And basically all of the things that have to do with coordinating the people that you have been sent to. And so we're just going to wait for Tola to join in. If this is the first time you're watching or you're seeing this video, my name is Adesewa Greg-Ighodaro, and I am the founder of the corporate church. What we do is help faith-based organizations gain visibility and have a voice of online space. We're strictly a marketing solution for faith-based organizations. So that's what we do basically. So I'm just going to send this notification to Tola, and then we'll wait for him to join. River overflowing, bread of life, fire of God, living water, overflow. Yay! Pastor T is here. Okay. I'm trying to add you. Okay. I need help. I need you. I need help. I need you. I need help.
Hey,
Good evening, sir.
Can I call you the name I call you?
No.
On this platform. Don't worry, I'll put pastor in the front. Hey, what's
Thank
up?
you so much.
You're looking so nice. And
what can we do now? COVID-19, we are at home. We don't have any other thing to do. Just sleep and wake up.
You are driving. I will tell presidential task force to come and carry
we
you.
are home now. Children are at home. We have to hide somewhere.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
If not, you don't hear, mommy, give me this. I want this. I want that. Thank you so much, sir. I'm really grateful.
The pleasure is mine.
Yeah. So for everybody who's
thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Okay, for everyone joining in, this is Tola Omonini. Tola as in capital letter. May I call him Pastor T? So if you hear me say Pastor T, I'm talking about.
I may call you.
My name is Adesewa. And Pastor T has been running Praise World Radio. He's the founder of Praise World Radio. I had this name I was going to call you. Professional public speaker, yes. How can I forget? Yes, he's the professional public speaker. You can say anything, say it how it's meant to say it, and you will be driven by it. And so he's been at this online urban ministry thing. I'll call it online urban ministry because there was a need, there was a gap in the music or gospel industry. That's a gospel industry, but there was a gap, and Praise World Radio was or is that organization that is filling that gap and doing it absolutely well. So this is actually like an ironic meeting, because this is what I'm doing is what he does. So I feel like I'm setting myself up. I feel like I'm saying to myself, it's my now. He trained me. He's my Oga. So let's see how this goes. So, Pastor T, okay, we're going to pray and then I'll just go straight into what it is that the Lord actually laid on my heart for this particular session. Because when he mentioned that I should reach out to you, I realized that there are many areas that I could ask you questions concerning doing ministry online, but this is the one aspect that he was really hitting on, and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's just say a word of prayer and then we'll begin. Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you because you have made this day possible for such a time as this. We thank you because everything that is happening is for our own good. We thank you because you are turning all this around for the glory of your name. We thank you because you have positioned the church for such a time as this, even using the digital media. And we thank you because we know that as we begin to speak, you will inspire us through your words in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Father, because it is done. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
So, this is the aspect that the Lord was like, this is what you need to talk to Tola about, which is the people mechanism. So because we're going to be having a lot of people coming online and saying, this is what God has asked me to do, and I don't know how to find my tribe. I don't know how to attract the people that I have been sent to. So Praise World Radio saw the gap of urban gospel music, saw that there were people who were doing really great stuff, and is not the regular Christian music that we hear, and then has this tanan that we can dance to on a regular day. It was this brand of music artists who when you hear what they're doing, a regular youth can connect with it. And so there was, should I say, the market or the target audience was already ready. And so it was easy for you to reach out and say, this is what we are doing with Praise World Radio. Because I know you started out as a blog. I remember.
That's correct.
So I know you started out as a blog. And so for me, that's like doing something like ministry online. So how do we get out of our head and say, this is what I feel that the Lord is asking me to do, doing it online? And you know, if it's physical, you can just say, oh, we're doing this, and then people can come. You can attract people. But online has it's another market entirely, and it feels like you have to drive people to be able to connect, especially in Nigeria where people are thinking, oh, my data and all of that. But we're going to come back to that. So how do we get out of our head and just go ahead and say, you know what, if God is asking me to do this online, I think I'll just go ahead and do it?
Wow. So, quite interesting having this chat with you. Okay, so the first thing I would say, which I think is one of the major mistakes a lot of people make, and which I almost did make at some point, but puts me back in track, is the first secret, I'll say, to having an effective online ministry is understanding that.
Oh,
Let me break that down.
Sorry, the network was breaking there. Understanding?
Okay, so one of the first secrets to understanding how to run an effective online ministry is understanding that it is not an online ministry.
It is good.
Okay, I'm not trying to be
no,
I'm not trying to play on words like that.
But online thing in our heads, then we feel that we are limited. I understand what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
So you think it's an online ministry. When you think online ministry, you kind of think, oh, it's a bit different from ministry. It's an online version of ministry. It's a virtual thing. It's a digital thing. It's an internet thing. It's an Instagram thing. It's a Facebook thing. And that alone by itself is enough to distract you from the purpose for which God has truly called you.
Awesome.
So the first thing that we need to do is to take away that notion of online ministry and look at the ministry and see the online, in quotes, as just a means of doing ministry.
Right.
It's just a tool. Now, and this is the litmus test. Whatever ministry you are doing online, whatever online ministry you might be involved in, the question is, if today God tells you to stop running that ministry online, will you still be able to meet that need offline? So, right. So you get what I'm saying?
Totally.
Now, it works this way. It works with mainstream. And a lot of people on the mainstream have gotten to this part where they had to ask themselves these real questions and answer these questions. Where they had to say, we are not online. We are mainstream. We are terrestrial. Or we are, in quotes, physical. I'm very careful with the words right now. Traditional, thank you. And they had to ask this question at some point. What will happen if we were not operating traditionally?
Right.
Which is where COVID has brought a lot of churches to now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what the online church now has to do is we now have to flip it. Since we're online, you now have to flip it and ask yourself, if there was no online, if you have to function traditionally, will you be able to fulfill the purpose for which we called you for?
Right. You know, one of the things that is scaring me. One of the things that is scaring me for churches who have been pushed to really drive this online thing right now is after COVID-19. I wouldn't be surprised if I see everybody going back to what they were doing before. Because what we're doing right now is we're having makeshift services. Okay, now we're now coming up with content, online content, and running these things. But can these things survive after COVID-19? So I totally understand what you're saying. I totally understand.
Yeah, exactly. That is the point, and that is where everyone, those who are operating traditionally and those who are operating digitally, like I found myself, and like you asked me, we need to get to that point where we need to properly define what ministry is. Right. Which takes me back to what I said initially, that the most effective way to run an online ministry is to first understand that it's not an online ministry.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to put that. So that way we get to understand the need. We are more attentive to the need that we are called to meet.
Right.
We are more attentive to the fact that, okay, for the case of Praise World, entertainment is, or recreation is a need that we thought, yes, every human being needs to meet this need. But a lot of people were meeting the needs in ways that were not kingdom-centric. Okay. And God is calling us to a point where we're supposed to meet that need. We're supposed to provide that need. And in the process of doing that, we're supposed to also inspire people.
Right.
So understanding that need and getting to a point where we're not online, can we still operate in a place of meeting that need traditionally? And if we are also traditional, can you meet that need if you were off traditional to digital? So that is just like for any divider you are on, you need to ask yourself that question. That will get us to a place doing what God has called us to do. Because while God called us, some of us, to do some things via the digital space, it is not, we should not get too carried away by the tool through which is telling us to do the work. The thing that is most important is the work that is calling us to do. Gone.
Yes, gone.
Which is where, exactly. which is where people come into play. Because ministry cannot be done by yourself. Ministry is not for you. You are not serving yourself.
Ministry is people.
So in the end, it comes down to people. It comes down to those you are called to serve. It boils down to people. And the more value you place on understanding the role of people in ministry, the better and more effective your ministry is, online, offline.
Right.
That's why you will see ministry more than the numbers. The numbers are important, digitally, traditionally, where you're doing your analysis and your modeling and all of that. But you now start to see more than the numbers. You start to see people.
Right.
You start to see people.
Right.
You start to appreciate people. You start to see more than how many people are watching us right now. You start to see more than 4 or more four people. Right. 4 souls, four people.
Pastor T, when the Lord started nudging my heart towards this, he kept on hitting on the fact that the essence, like the real deal for doing this ministry online, is actually to raise disciples. He says that the people have had a craze for numbers. And so we have buildings who are saying, oh, we're 1,500, we're 2,000, we're 2,500, and we're growing. And so they are measuring growth by the numbers, not by the experience. And so he kept on hitting on the fact that the reason he's saying go online, not that online is the absolute, it's like a complementary thing. And so that's why I was saying I totally understand the fact that you're saying, can we switch? If Instagram says I'm not doing today, or I'm not doing tomorrow, Facebook says I'm not doing tomorrow, YouTube says I want to shut down, can we still survive? So I get you, I totally understand. And so he kept saying that the essence for ministry, the reason I actually mentioned the Great Commission that we have tagged it to be, is to raise disciples, and that has been missing. So yes, ministry is people. I totally understand that. I totally understand that. But how do we now? Because what we have to sell, or what we should be selling, is, or trying to get, is the attention of the people, right? But we're now like an octopus. We're not like an octopus, and it feels like everything is trying to get our attention. Everything is trying to get our attention. And so as a ministry online, as a ministry serving people online through digital means, how do we attract the attention of the people who we have been sent to? I have a thing where I say you have to really niche down and know that this is who God has sent me to. So you have to speak their language. You have to be able to understand, okay, this is where they are. They are not on Instagram. They're on Facebook. I get my engagement here and there. And you're able to understand all of these mechanisms. But how do you now say, if these are the people that I have been sent to, how do I attract them?
I kind of lost you a little. The network didn't allow the question flow well enough.
If we know the people who we have been sent to, how do we attract them? Coupled with the fact that there are so many things that can distract us. So there's this data that I have seen that the average number of hours that people spend online is 6 hours and 43 minutes. In that 6 hours and 43 minutes, how do I ensure that I attract the people whom God has sent me to, so that my ministry either grows or is effective as it is?
Okay, I didn't totally get because of the network, but I kind of have an idea of what you are trying to say. Basically, how do you attract the people that God has called you for in this online space?
Right.
Okay, so while I'm supposed to be like I'm supposed to know so much about that. For me, it's a bit different. Mm-hmm. It's a bit different for me because I think I'm probably just one of the privileged few, where in some way. Okay, so for Praise World, for many years, most of those that came through, most of our audience were drawn organically. It was almost 100%. It was almost 100% organic. So
okay,
yeah.
But let me say something. I don't think I've told you this before. So before I came to Praise World, I had actually had a dream where I saw myself working in a gospel radio station, and I was wondering, okay, so what is this? I just woke up and I'm like, okay, but I don't know anything about a Christian online station. And then I think a few days after, I came across praisewordradio.com. And then a few days after, I said, okay, let me listen. So that's why you said it's kind of.
So I'm there. I'm like, man, okay, this question is a good question, and I might have some smart answers to give, but then again, I might not be given the true credit. So the true picture of it is, like you said, for me, it's like it was so organic kicking off that it just seemed as though God was sending people my way. Mm-hmm. And when I say people, I don't just even mean those who were listening, those who were supposed to work with us. And you know the story a bit. Yeah. It was so organic that it was almost like God. And let me take this to traditional media. It's almost like you open a church, and then people just start coming, and then you get to ask people, so how did you get to hear about us? And they say, no, I just came. Or they just say, I had a dream. No, I just had a dream, and God told me to come here. It was just like that. And people were just coming, and people were coming. So, but how do we attract them? I think, from my experience, I think the first part of it is there's a divine role. There's a role that God Himself plays in this. Right. Now, the online space makes it very clear of how wide and how big this space is. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of online platforms that could be everywhere, just like there's so many churches. So how do we get to have those ones who come in here? Because if you say it's about niche, then you see like about 1,000 people also doing your niche. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first off, the first thing is there's the divine. There are certain people that God has, in his all divine, in His mercy, in His all awesomeness, He has picked certain people and said, these ones, your destiny is connected to this ministry. Right. And that's why sometimes when people ask me, how come I'm not quitting? How come, what gets me going? That people ask that question a lot. Mm-hmm. I keep saying it's because every time I want to quit, I keep thinking about the number of lives that are connected to Praise World Radio. Mm-hmm. And then I ask myself, if I quit now based on maybe a challenge I'm going through or some of my personal selfish, what will happen to these people? Right. People who have gotten married via Praise World, people who have now have kids, people who have gotten jobs through the ministry of Praise World, people who have started off ministries via Praise World. What would have been if this was supposed to be in the grand plan? Right. So that is one thing. There's a group of people that God has ordained to function in the ministry that He has called you for. Right. So there's a role that you have to play in locating them, in attracting them. But before I get to that, I just need to stress the fact that there are some people that God has ordained already for that purpose. So at any point, did you at any point pray to attract that? Because I need to ask. I don't want to assume that everybody will know that we prayed or you prayed. I need to ask because okay, all right, sir. So I remember this day many years ago. Pastor Emisi called me. So she came around. You know where our studio was before? Yes, yes. I know. Right. You know. There was a playground close to that place, like a garden. Yes. So on this day, Pastor Emisi calls me, and then we go to that garden and we sit down on one of the chairs. And then she asked me. She looked me in the eye and said, "See." And she wants to ask me a very, very sincere question that she's been wanting to ask me. Can I remember anything I did? Anything I did or anything I did before now, or any prayer I prayed to attract the people that I'm currently attracting? She really wanted to know, like it was a moment of truth. Like let's trace this thing. There's something. There was a trend she saw. There was like a trend, a pattern, and so she was like, "You must have done something. So let us trace it. Let's trace back." And I told her, I said candidly, no, I can't remember. I really can't remember. Wow. But then I remember that back in 2009 thereabouts, when I was in school under my pastor, Reverend Wale Akinrombi, there's a prayer he used to pray a lot, and we used to pray the prayer a lot for the ministry, the church, Father's house.
Okay.
And he used to pray a lot, and he used to take us through a First Samuel, telling us a story about Saul when he lost his donkeys and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to pray. The prayer was, "Let us pray for the gift of men." Pray for the gift of men. That was one prayer point that was constant at every prayer session we had. Now, it wasn't a prayer for me.
Right.
It was a prayer for the ministry.
Right.
But because I couldn't tell him, I couldn't get any answer to give Missy that day. So I just told her, I said, that is one thing I can remember, that we used to pray a lot for the gift of men. So while it wasn't directly for Praise World at the time, it was a lot more for Father's House, which I was an associate pastor of.
Right.
I could now.
Please wait, sir.
If nobody must be greeted, she must.
Yes, I have to hear that. Yes, I have to hear that. Thank you so much for joining, man. I hope the children are not stressing. Well done. Thank you so much.
That's why I can be here.
Okay, sir.
You get. So while I could not trace it to Praise World, it was majorly for the ministry at the time. But when Pastor Missy asked me that question, the only thing I could think of at the time was, there was a time we used to pray fervently, non-stop, days and weeks and months for the gift of men. And so I started to see, even in what was happening at that time, that God was actually blessing me with the gift of men, which is priceless, which you cannot buy, which you cannot lobby for, which you cannot strategically work out. It is a gift. It is given by God, and it's called the gift of men. So that I've enjoyed, and that has been a lot more on two angles. One, from the angle of service, those who have to work with you as your team for your ministry, and also those who God brings to you as those who have to participate in what it is that you are doing.
Right.
And even when it comes to finances, God will give you gift of men that will sow into what it is that you are doing. It is a gift. And while I might not be able to trace it to me praying for that specifically for Praise World, from the days of Father's House, I think there must have been some kind of transfer.
Yeah, of course.
In the middle of that.
It was more like a banking prayer. So when the need arose, it just activated. Wow, amazing. So there's this I have this Launch and Grow Your Ministry online course, and I realized that one of the things I realized, because 3 years ago? Okay, no, last year I was meant to. The Lord says, teach my people how to the person of the Holy Spirit, and then we started to do that, and we had this WhatsApp community where we used to pray. It was supposed to be just like a 25-day thing, and as I speak to you, it's running, because after 25 days I'm like, okay, guys, we've come to the end of the curriculum, and everybody's like, no way, you cannot go anywhere. No, we're going to have curriculum. It grew into a set of people, 100 people who are praying every day at 12 noon.
Wow.
I don't know them from anywhere. They're people from Dublin. They're people from the US. They're just many people. And so here's where I'm going to. I realized that when the gift of men, when you begin to attract them and you begin to grow, there is also a need to preserve what the Lord has started. Because sometimes we can get carried away by, people were enough, either were enough, or people, I don't need to do much, or I can just transfer a little bit of what I'm meant to be doing to somebody else. And I had to actually learn this. I came to a point where I'm like, if God gave you a vision, it is your vision. You don't transfer it to somebody to be praying on your behalf for it, and then you go on and do other things. It is you God sent. And so I realized that when ministries begin to grow online, digitally, because this is what we're talking about, we forget that there is a need to preserve. Now, do we preserve the people, or do we preserve the values Because of course we must preserve the vision. So how do we just ensure that in growing we don't now encounter a problem? Because we must grow.
Wow, that's very profound. Very, very profound. I mean, very profound. The question itself is profound. And I might want to just share one other secret. I shared one already earlier today. Another secret I would like to share, which might answer your question.
Can you speak up a bit? I don't know. The sound is now low. I don't know why.
I didn't do anything. Is it better now? I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Is it better now? Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, I can
Same
hear
thing.
You. I can hear you. It's better.
All right. Okay. All right. I said your question right now is really profound, and it's probably getting me to sharing another secret that I've learned over the years.
Okay.
Which might in turn answer your question. The secret to this, to preserving people, the gift that God has given you, to maintain growth and stuff like that, is primarily in loving people.
Right.
Let me now explain. Any ministry, and this applies even traditionally as well,
yes.
For you to achieve effective success, good success as the Bible calls it, you must love people. You must love people genuinely.
Right. Not
I have
for
to put
what
the genuinely in there.
you.
Yes, because you can love them because you think you love them. You need to get to a point where you need to love them genuinely. Genuinely. Now, the oh God, loving people will solve so many problems, because we have not even talked about the part of conflict, the part
we're
of
getting there.
betrayal,
yes,
the part of the challenges that come along with people, because we are just
generally
people.
Right.
So that and so many things that we have not talked about. Loving people genuinely is the only thing that's going to help you scale through, and which is what is going to help you maintain whatever gift of men that God has blessed you with.
Right.
Genuinely loving people will let you know if you're supposed to preserve the person or the values. Will let you know if you're supposed to let people go or have people stay. Will let you know if you're supposed to pay a bit more attention into the ministry of the people that are supposed to be in your ministry than discouraging them from their ministry and telling them they have to focus on yours. So now that love, this love is what encapsulates about everything around it.
Right,
because, for example, let me give you an example. And this is a true life example, guys. Adesewa used to be on my team, right? He used to work with praise. We are always, so we have this stuff that we've been saying from time, and we still say it till date. Once a Praise World family member,
always a Praise World family member.
Good. All right. So you know that, and that has been our mantra for years, year in, year out, and we've had a lot of people who have come through like an academy like that. Now, here we are today. We're on the corporate church, and we're having a conversation, which is being a blessing to lots of people out there, and probably a bunch of these guys are people who have ministry that they will start, and it becomes a ripple effect to many ministries to come.
Right.
There was a time that Adesewa had to leave Praise World.
Right.
And the genuine love, loving people genuinely will say, whatever it is that you are doing, I'm going to support you.
Right.
I am going to back you up. I'm going to, with the same love that I have, follow you through on that. Basically, I'm trying to say in this context, keeping people or trying to forcefully ensure that you preserve the numbers might help you or might seem like it's working at the time, but it is a very quick way to failure.
Right.
While whereas the other way around, where it seems like you are not really being able to preserve the people like that in quotes. However, you are preserving you're preserving the values, like you said. You're preserving the core essence of the ministry.
Essence. Yes.
Now, when you keep preserving that, it gives a ripple effect that brings about a geometric results over time in your ministry.
Right.
But it all boils down to love. Do you love the people that God has sent to you? Do you love them? I mean, people must know that they are loved by you. I mean, it's one thing to love, and you think, I love this person. This person should know I love the person. But your love for the people that God has sent to you must get to a point where the people know that they are loved by you.
Yes.
It is at that point. Do you get? So it's at that point that we can say, yes, we are really preserving people. I learned something very early in my days of parenting. So I learned it from my pastor. He told me, he said, one of the major challenges you have when you have your child, the first year, second year, third year, the first few years of having this child, it might seem like you are spoiling the boy. It might seem like you are so lenient. It might seem like you are not very hard on them. But one of the first things that the child needs to know is that daddy loves me. When that foundation is laid, when we get older, you can be hard on him, but the foundation has been
Must be laid.
That's why sometimes I spank my son. Now he's 4 years old. I spank him, and when he's done, he still comes back to me to hug me while he is crying.
Right.
I'm the one that beat him. That's because you
get what I mean? Basic, daddy loves me. I was the one that did the wrong thing.
That's it. Even if he doesn't know he did the wrong thing, even if he cannot really process it, one thing that he doesn't forget is the fact that. So what we need to preserve in a ministry, when we understand that ministry is about people, no matter how anointed we are, we need people. No matter what it is, that we need people. Now, people are the essence of ministry. So whether the people are growing within the circle or growing outside of the circle, we win. Either way. Either way, we win as far as they are growing.
The essence of all of this is, like we said, raise disciples. So if you're raising disciples, of course, you're also replicating yourself. You're producing your kind. So even when they are too attached to you, you need to start asking, okay, are you not supposed to be doing something? Like, is there something that God has also called you to do? I'm just like pouring into you, and you have to do. So there's the principle of letting go, but letting go in love. So I totally understand you. I totally understand. Love is key.
Can I add one thing to that?
Right,
Can I add one thing to that?
Yes.
Can I add something to that? So the person who sent us, God, our daddy, our father, he understands this thing so well that he rewards it. So when he finds that you are faithful with the gift of men that he has given to you, he will bless you with more.
Right.
He will bless you with more. So ultimately, you experience growth. You experience growth. Like Praise the Lord has experienced growth over the years. You keep experiencing growth. Keep experiencing growth. Now, let me not get too in code. Like they say, let me not get too spiritual. And say, hey, there's not a part of and say, oh, this guy just coming here, he just boboing us, he just using all this spiritual.
It's not bobo. I understand. No, for real, it's the truth. In fact, I feel that and I'm still going to ask you. I'll let you say what you say. I feel that doing ministry online is actually even going to test your love again. It's going to really test your love because when you don't have people that you are seeing, how do you respond when somebody sends you a message and say, "Oh, Pastor T, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that," and you can't see the person physically? Will you roll your eyes? Because at this point, you are reporting to God. So God is the one really seeing if you really love or not. Not when you see them physically, "Oh, you're sick. Oh, take this. Oh," and who are you? That's like the boboing, right? So I totally understand what you're saying. I totally understand. So you want to say something, sir?
Yes. So I kind of lost my train of thought right there. I was just listening to you.
No, you wanted to say that so that it won't seem as if you're just saying spiritual stuff.
Yes. Okay, so I see that. Oh, Bishop G. I see Bishop G here with us. So I was going to say, so that some people don't think, this guy just here is just boboing us. Come on, give us the G's, give us the real deal of how we do this thing. Yeah, because we need to be there needs to be a balance. Yeah, you can't say, "Oh, I love people so much, I don't sustain the values." For example, it's just like saying, "I love you so much, I love my team so much, I love people so much," and then you allow them to do anything.
No,
it defeats the purpose of why we are saying you should love. Also, we can also say, "Oh yes, it's all about the gift of men. God will bless." Just so you just sit down on your knees and just kneel down and keep praying for the gift of men, and don't do anything. So there needs to be a balance. Now, one of the major areas is you understanding your audience, yeah, and understanding what God has called you for. I believe very strongly that there must be a traditional expression of your online audience.
Okay.
What I mean is
something that people can physically connect with.
Yes. For example, what I mean now is, for example, I have an audience of 10 people, you inclusive. In my offline life, I must have a representation of these people.
Okay.
If I'm called to professionals, and yes, I have lots of Zoom meetings and all of that, in my day-to-day life of the digital platforms, I should have certain people within my space who happen to be in that target, in that demographic.
Okay, so if I'm getting you, what you're saying is be a human being.
Yes.
You're not a bot.
Yes.
You're doing ministry online, but you're not a bot, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I'm, for example, if my niche is, for example, if God is telling me to lower the age range of my target audience, and it's saying, okay, I need to focus a lot more on children, and my online platform is having like a growth of children, younger ones. In my offline life, I need to start attracting those people as well. In a way that I start to understand their language, not online, offline.
Human being.
So I have a representation of my audience online that I relate with offline. That way, I start to understand a lot more about how they relate, how they think. There's been times that I started. There was a time. I started to feel old because I started having a lot of younger friends, and they started, show me one or two things. I'm like, almost like I'm dull, So you start to understand a bit more about how to feed your audience. That will make them appreciate what it is that you're putting out a lot more because you are speaking their language. Those are some of the things that help you maintain the people that God has sent to you. At every point in time, people outgrow people. if the people are not growing with the people.
Commensurate.
Okay,
with
what I mean is
yes.
We keep growing, and that's why you are probably not watching the same channels you used to watch back then when you were a kid. Why?
Right.
You outgrew that. And when you outgrew it, those who now grew to that channel now have newer ways of thinking, different from those who have already graduated.
Right. New association.
So exactly. So if your target audience is say 18 to 21, the 20-year-old person of 8 years ago is now 28 years old. So it's possible that he has left that circle. The person who is 20 years old now was 12 years old before, at that time.
Right.
The way this 12-year-old person thinks now is not the same way that guy used to think now.
Right.
So you now need to also update those that you have around you, so that you have to start understanding the language and how to be able to relate with people in a way that keeps them comfortable and helps them to understand the message that God is giving you to them part time. That is also very essential. I just have to chip in one or two of those things to make us understand that
yes,
there's a role.
Yes, you have to work it too. You have to work it. So we don't just rely on this is what I feel, or this is what I feel the Holy Spirit is saying, or this is how I should do it spiritually, and then physically there's no proof, or physically there's no work that we're doing. And I really get what you're saying, because when you can connect to people physically, it will help you to understand even the mind of the online people. And so you can speak their language. You can speak their language. Okay. Thank you, sir. Taking note of that. Thank you. So I was going to ask, the online space, there's a diversity of people. They're Nigerians, they're Americans, there are islanders, there are plenty like that. What is the one thing that you feel that unifies all of these people? Because I know that even if you're sent to a heterogeneous audience, you must be able to speak a global language. You can't be giving us a local example when the people that you're talking to, they don't even understand what you're saying, so they can't relate, right? So what is that one thing? Let me give you an example, sir. When the Lord was saying start the corporate church, I'm like, well, I don't have energy for all this something. No. And he said, everybody has spirituality at their core. That is the one unifying factor for anything I send you to do. So do it knowing that even if they do not want to acknowledge, there is a spiritual essence that is at their core. So that is my own one thing. So let's ask for praise Lord, or in your managing, running the entire organization, what is the one thing that you have seen that this one thing is a unifying factor for all the people that have been sent to?
Wow. I think I mentioned it before. So two things in my, at least the 7+ years of running Praise World.
You can say that again, sir. You can say it again. When I 8 years. Well done.
Oh my. Okay, so the first thing is love. Love is a language. Love is a language. Love is a language that everybody understands. I have not seen who you are, wherever you are, what age you are, no matter. Love is a language that always comes through. So, in the way we present our content, in the way I run my shows, for example, I remember a time, I don't know if you remember this back then, many years ago, I was listening to the show. I was listening to another show on Praise. I think it was Afternoon Groove or something, one show like that. And I was listening from the house, and then I could sense that there were some messages were read, some jokes were made that I just felt were a little off.
Off.
Now these jokes will not really be off from a mainstream angle.
Okay.
Like where you have to roast people, but I was just listening from just a listener's perspective, and I thought, no, I don't really feel loved hearing this stuff. So I called the team and I explained to them. I said, you know what, guys, it's not like there's anything really wrong about, the content that you guys were putting out today, how you guys were delivering it, but I don't think it really communicates love that well. Let's pay a bit more attention to it. And the reason is because people, if I cannot even hear, we have people who listen to Praise World who don't really understand English. Like when you speak with them offline, you can tell that their English is not very sound, but we speak English here. So sometimes it's not so much about the words, but about the heart of love. And that applies to the team as well too. Love is that language that everyone understands. And I'm not saying that I've perfected the art of love communication, but it's something that we should constantly tell God to help us with, to be able to communicate with love, because that is something that is a unifying language. Everyone understands the language called love. The second one is music. Sometimes when we have people tune in from some parts of the world, I'm like, man, we got to make our music, that standard. Let's give them some, America, some Oyinbo music, right?
Right.
But I've come to understand that the music that they don't understand, in the language they don't understand, they still are communicated to.
Yes, now that time we used to listen to Abel Chungu Musuka. I cannot forget his name.
Hey, I can't hear you again. No.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I don't know why I can't. Hold on.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me though?
I can hear you.
Hold on. For some reason, okay, so here's what happened. A call came in.
Okay.
Which I declined.
Okay, let me
hearing
turn you off. I'll turn you off and then you come back on.
All right, yes, I can hear you now. I just did some magic.
Yay! Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, DJ.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you.
Yay! Hey,
okay, so
excuse me. That's disrespect to the bishop. Call him the right way, Bishop AQ.
We thank you very much for
let's proceed now.
Ably representing or showing us, telling us that you can hear us. We appreciate. Thank you. Okay, so I was saying you were talking about music and listening to music and how
yes.
Even if it's not in a language that we understand, right? It still connects. And then I was saying that I remember Abel Chungu Musuka.
Aha! Look at that.
So even if we don't get what he's saying,
but he was communicating. Yeah.
So I guess
those two things are universal languages. Works every time. In my experience, they don't fail. They don't fail. Love as a language and music as a language, it always cuts across.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. We have a very, very, very few, I think about 4 or 5 minutes left. I don't want Instagram to cut us off. I'm just going to ask this. So if love is and I totally agree with you about this whole doing, whether ministry offline or online, it's actually love that keeps the whole thing going together. how do we love from a distance? And how do we love to the extent that I'm not going to assume anything. I'm not going to assume a 2 Corinthians 13 or 1 Corinthians 13. How do we show? How do the people know? Because I can feel that I love somebody and the person doesn't know. Maybe because I'm just starting out, or maybe because I just don't know how to. So for somebody who is listening, how do we love to the extent? Because the people must know. Because it's in the people knowing that we're actually really doing our job right. So how do we love to the extent that the people know that we love them?
It's a tough one. I wouldn't lie to you. It's a tough one because sometimes even you might try very hard, and you might still be misunderstood. You might do all you try to do, and you might still not be able to get through to the people that you are trying to show love to. So it is a tough one, but it takes time, and it takes the grace of God. You know, there are certain times that I've tried to show love to certain people who did not take it that way, or it just seemed as though they were not even ready to even receive love in the first place. Like, you know, I don't even know. So, but, and there's a lot I can say about this. There's a lot, and a number of experiences I can share, but I know we don't have time. But I'll say one thing, and it was BOUQUI that taught me this, booking. So she told me one time, and she said, when you pray for people, they feel it. They don't know it, but they just know it. I mean, they don't know why, but they just know. So it's like if I take out time praying for you, when you see me, there's a way we connect that you might not even know what it is.
Right.
But there's a connect that has been made.
Right.
So that is one area where you cannot miss it. When it's hard to love, or when it's hard to express the love, or when you are having challenges like that, which I have had a number of over time, what you can do is pray for people. Pray for them. Pray. In fact, pray for pastors. Do you know that when you pray for people and they see you, sometimes they are moved to want to favor you and they don't even know why.
Yes.
Or they are moved to want to listen to you because it's just a spiritual connection. So that's one thing I'm going to say for your audience, for your church, for your team. Pray. Just pray for them, and it does a great trick right there.
Yeah. I always say that because most times we're keen to feed our followers, but I always say train your team as well. Connect with them because that's like the core of everything. If they are not in sync with you, you'll be stressed, you'll be frustrated, and even when you do all the physical trainings, prayer is that one thing that it's like it crowns every other thing. And they just know that, no, this person, I have a special place in this person's heart. Whether it's 1% or 2%, they just know it. And I know that I've been privileged to enjoy that special place. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so grateful. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. I love
And well done. Well done.
Thank you.
I mean, you actually, I don't have time for this, but let me just chip it in. You have a special grace, for, I don't know what to call that grace or that anointing. Pastor Emisi has it as well, where you have this octopus mode, ability to just do a lot of things and do it effectively well. It is a grace. I mean, I mean, you guys, God bless you, man. God bless you so much. I see all that God is doing through you, and I'm like, man, grace on. God bless you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you from the sideline.
Please keep praying for us. Aderemola, thank you so much for joining. Bishop G, thank you so much. Thank you.
Peter, I see you.
I'm
Mr. Onome, and thank you so much for coming. I hope you learned one or two things.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So we gotta go now. Bye.
Yeah. Bye now.